to Healing Yoga. And of course, as always, we have that choice to start seated or standing. A little cooler weather today. So I think I'm just going to start seated in an easy seated pose or any other comfortable position that feels good for you. Let's just begin with our breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, warms the air before it reaches inside, comes down, circles around. As we exhale, we're creating a little vertical circle of air and exchange. If you have props handy or would like any props handy, maybe a strap or a block or even a blanket. Today I'm sitting on a blanket just to give me a little bit more height and cushion. They're not required, but if they enhance your practice, I encourage you having them. So we'll just sit here for another few breaths just to center ourselves and prepare for our healing yoga practice today. As you inhale, find that length in your spine. Draw belly button in and up. Exhaling, releasing all the air and just allowing the shoulders to relax down and alongside your spine. Continuing with that breath in the nose and out the mouth. Pads of fingers or notched thumb and fingers slide down an inch from the collarbones and move to this end point of our kidney meridian, the on button for the body. Gets our energy moving forward, which is one of the directions energy wants to move. Breath in the nose, out the mouth. Shake that off. Flick the fingers. Remember, that just shakes off excess energy and also stimulates the meridians that begin or end on the fingers. Moving to our thymus now. Important point here, stimulating those T cells, those killer T cells, immune cells. It's like a shot of vitamin C right here, sternum, thymus area. Great thing to do every day. Shake it off, move to your side seams, just beneath the bra line or right there at the rib cage, tapping, thumping, or massaging. Metabolizing, digesting our thoughts, foods, and experiences. Shake that off. And then move to your cheekbones. Grounding energy associated with the earth element and stomach meridian beginning right here at the cheekbones. Breath in the nose, out the mouth. You can move all the way around the orbital bone if you choose. Shake that off. Take a couple breaths to integrate those 4 thumps. And then seated or standing. We'll just do a homolateral or same side march or slap and dust it off. Pause the energy, cross it over. Remember, crossing over the energy helps to strengthen and bring those 2 fields of either side together. When we're real tired, many times it separates. So by physically crossing it over, we can build our energies back up to that 100% where we really need it. Shake that off. Hands hover over the pubic bone, setting your intention. Say an affirmation. Also zipping up your energy and continuing to keep out negative energy from entering into your field. And sweep it out. Again. Zip up, sweep out, and last time. Finally, we have the hookup. Middle finger in the belly button, the other between the brows. Press in and up. Setting that energetic spine, cleansing the aura. And just remembering we can always go to this when we are engaging our abdominals. Just think of that. Draw in and up. Let's take one more deep breath. And then shake that out, holding the knees. Now, if this seated position is comfortable for you, just hold on to the knees. Otherwise, you can be in a loose cobbler's pose. Baddha Konasana is the Sanskrit word, but we'll speak English here. And let's just do some seated cat-cows, just to really kind of wake up our core. Inhale as you come into that gentle back bend, and exhale as you scoop out through the belly in that cat position. Breathing deeply, you can continue that breath in through the nose and out the mouth throughout your whole practice, or go to your natural breath or other breaths as I may prompt them throughout our practice today. And bring in some seated circles. Again, if you want to be in that cobbler's pose or your seated, easy seated pose, whatever feels right for you. That can change from day to day, moment to moment, just like balance. That's what it is, actually. So I'm just taking 1 or 2 circles in one direction and then switching that out. And then go into a little figure 8. You have to kind of think about this. But you know how we weave and cross over, creating those figure 8s, which really help keep our whole field healthy. It's good to create those figure 8s. We have many figure 8s throughout our whole bodies, our eyes, cheeks, two-sided of everything, breasts, our reproductive organs. So you can always draw the figure 8 around or envision it, visualize, or just take your body and move into some of those figure 8 patterns. And if you think, oh, this is too hard, I don't think I'm doing it right, just work with it and don't be too hard on yourselves. We are our own worst critics. So then let's just come into a little bit of stillness. Place the hands out to the side. Deep breath in as we lengthen up tall and extend into a side stretch. Placing the forearm down for support. Knowing if it's too challenging to sit on the floor, we can be on a chair, on a sofa, any other surface. We can make this work, doing what we can just for today. Deep breath. And side one once again. And side 2. Come back to center. Bring the hands together and just bring the fingertips, so the very end of the fingertips, and kind of notch those together. And maybe drop to one side. If you find yourself coming forward, sit up tall and just do the best you can here while you're remaining lengthened up through the spine. So we come here and we're breathing. Breathing is a key thing to keep our energy flowing. And then bring it up and drop it to the other side. These are just some gentle stretches, not that full back stretch or cow face pose yet. It's warming up a little bit. Reach up and go back to side 1. Couple breaths. Notice the work that's involved in just sitting up here. Your core holding us up, holding you up. Other side. And then release. Squeeze the shoulders up toward the ears, back and down. Once again, squeeze up, back and down, looking both ways. And again. Return to center, gentle neck stretch. Taking the fingertips to one side of the head, drawing the ear down, lengthening out through the neck, maybe placing the fingertips on the shoulder, or extending that arm out with the thumb up. You can feel that deep stretch. You can also turn that thumb down and see if that doesn't change the sensation of the stretch. Return to center. Notice how that side feels versus the side we haven't done yet. And then we'll move to that side. Gently stretch down. Maybe place the fingertips on the shoulder. Breathe into that space where you're feeling the deep stretch. Perhaps extend that arm out. Thumb up. Deep breath. Maybe turn the thumb. Just notice the different little sensations with just slight movements. And slowly release. Once again, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Chin to the chest. Deep inhalation. Full exhalation. Inhale back center, take the head back. Press and scoop out with the chin, like a pelican scooping up fish. And then come back center. Now, either seated on the chair or on the floor or even standing, extend the arms out directly from the shoulders or perpendicular. A little bit of active energy in the arms to keep them held out to our sides. And let's do 10 small circles forward. And after 10 forward, we'll reverse and do 10 in reverse. Breathing all the while. Not always the greatest counter, so might do one or two more or one or two less. As we finish, give ourselves a nice big hug in, scoop through the belly. Inhale, sit up, and then switch the cross. Give that great big hug of gratitude. If you can walk the fingertips back so that they touch the shoulder blades, or maybe one can reach around one shoulder blade. Admittedly, it's difficult to get the fingertips around both shoulder blades, so don't sweat it. Just do what you can, but give yourself that hug. And gently move side to side. Release, roll shoulders. And let's move on to our all fours. Move through some cat and cow stretches. Now, if being on the knees is a challenge for you, we can sit in the chair and do this cat-cow if being on the knees, again, is a challenge. Or sit just in our easy seated pose. So with this, hands and knees are tabletop. Move through some cat and cow and some crescent stretches side to side. We're moving through all planes of our body. Maybe create some rotation in there. Move in any way your body is speaking to you. And if you want to get a little sole of the foot stretch, tuck the toes. At the same time, you're in your tabletop. We can substitute fists for wrists if we have wrist issues, which I do sometimes, so that's what I do. Just substitute fists for wrists. But that's only when our joints are stacked, meaning shoulder above, elbow above, wrist. So for instance, if we were in downward facing dog, that is not supported. Thus, we would not do the fist for wrists there. And come into stillness here. Draw belly button in and up. Let's do some fire hydrants with this right leg coming out to the side. Clams is actually what this is from our all fours. We'll do 5 to 7 of these. Here's 3, 4, 5. Do as many or as few as your body is telling you to do, but always challenge yourself. Maybe try and do that one more than you planned. Other side, lift, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Reset in your cat-cow. And all fours. Let's slide one leg out. Tuck the toes. Active energy in the leg, meaning we're not just relaxed here. So the foot is flexed and we have active energy, meaning I can lift this leg and fire through this glute right here as I lift up. So I'll exhale, lift just a couple inches off the floor, tap down, lift and tap, 3 and tap, 4 and 5, tap. Now we'll bend and draw that in toward the chest and out. Draw in, breathing all the while. Exhale in, last one. And come to all fours. Cat, cow. 1 or 2 rounds. Second side. Lengthen out through that leg. Flex through the foot. And lift. Tap. Lift. You are engaging this muscle here. Glute. There's a large glute and a medial glute. Or just think of your gluteus. And here's 5, maybe 6. Again, I lose count sometimes. Reset in your cat-cow. Pause. And then we'll draw the knee in and extend. Knee in, extend, just floating above the mat. Here's 3, 4, and 5. Coming back down. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. And then we'll kick out bottom right leg, extend left or opposite leg up. It doesn't matter. We're going to do both sides. And again, you may want some padding beneath the knee. We're here today. So we're in kind of a gate pose here. And we'll move down into kneeling side plank or kneeling half moon with that top leg raised. We can bend and lengthen, bend, lengthen, or just tap down and lift 3 times. And slowly come back up, doing what we can just for today. You can also have that chair here for a little bit more stability if needed. So we can be here and lift up. Just flowing between gate pose and kneeling half moon or kneeling plank. More. And then we'll pause in our gate pose. Full deep breaths here. Slowly release down, and we'll switch sides. Extending that opposite leg out. So I'll hand either on the mat, the ground, or on the chair. Coming up here, maybe lifting that leg and tapping down. Lift, tap, lift, tap. These are all options. You may just be here, or you may be here. Just trying to work some of the extremities of the body. We can lift here, bend, and lengthen. This helps bring some of that fluid into the joints, keeping things naturally oiled, if you will. And then let's flow into gate pose and back into kneeling side plank or kneeling half moon. And one more. pausing here. Full deep breaths. You'll notice a little bit of balance going on. You can tuck the rear toes for a little bit of added stability. And then release down. Back to your all fours, and then pull back into your expression of child's pose. Now, those of us that have knee issues, maybe coming back like this is not comfortable at all. Maybe you have a pillow here, or perhaps you just place the forearms down and rest the forehead so we don't go into that full flexion of the leg. From wherever you are in this child's pose, maybe take the knees a little bit wider. Bring the forearms about mat width apart. And maybe walk the arms out just to where you're feeling a little bit of a challenge. Resting the forehead in between the elbows. The bum is in the air in kind of half puppy pose. And you're breathing. You should notice a little opening in through the chest and shoulder girdle here. You think about placing the arms kind of at a cactus as you come down. Right, feel the opening a little bit more here. Next inhale, slowly come up. Bring the knees just beneath the hips. Maybe shift forward. Now again, if we have wrist issues, we may want to be on the forearms. We're just trying to build some strength in the upper body as well as the core here. So here is the first modification for kneeling plank and lowering down. Lift and lower using the forearms here. Maybe it's down an inch or two and up an inch or two. And the second option, a little bit more challenging, is from the full arm. Shoulders are over the wrist. Maybe bend the elbows just an inch and lower and come back up. Very strength building here. Keeping the elbows into your sides, and we're not lowering down very far at all. Breathe. And after you've done that, you're going to probably feel it, so you want to pull back into your child's or puppy pose. Take about 2 to 3 breaths. Next inhale, gaze between the forearms. So this time we're keeping the forearms down. We're going to do inchworm. So we're shifting chest forward, lowering down chest. The bum is lifted, chin, and then belly last. And as we gently press in through the pubic bone, hip area, draw the belly button in and up. Lengthen head, neck in line with the spine into Sphinx pose. Breathe here. If this bothers your low back at all, come out, drop out of it a little bit, and really draw the belly button in toward the spine. And then stack the hands either downward or facing up. Rest the head in the hands. Rock the hips side to side. Helps calm the nervous system of the body. Think of it, rocking, like a baby rocking in a cradle, or any of us rocking in the chair, the soothing comfort of rocking. And then come in to stillness here. And we'll bend. First, we'll bring the left arm in front of us here. So my elbows just beneath the shoulder, and my left arm is at about a 90-degree angle. So it looks like this as I'm down here. You can see that. And then the opposite leg, I would pull in or just bend. And either with a sash, loop, or strap, you might reach back there or start with that first. Whichever way works. I'll show you from that angle. And then I'm going to switch back over here. So I've got this forearm down, supporting, bent knee. We're all going to look different. Some of you may be able to reach the foot or the ankle, or just use that strap to bring it in. Now this is work. You're drawing that belly button in and up. If it's too much, you just walk that arm out. Take one more breath. And then release. Stack the hands. Rock the hips. Still the hips. And then switch the legs for the loop. And also, we don't even have to use a loop or a sash. We can just bend that heel in toward the glute and place the forearm here and realize that stretch. For many of us, that might be plenty. So go with what feels right for you. Otherwise, you could place that loop or strap around the ankle. Elbow is just below the shoulder on the opposite side. Breathe. Find that length and then fully exhale. Slowly release. And drop the head. Rock the hips. And then still the hips. Bend both legs and then crisscross the ankles. So they're not going to the same side, they're crisscrossing. Notice the crossing of energy that we're doing. We are continuing to strengthen our energy, our own energy we're working on here. And then release the feet down. So options here, we're going to go into a locust pose, which is a back bend here. You have the option to take those arms out to the side to goal post. Maybe the chin is resting, or maybe the head is hovering above the mat. Once again, pressing through the pubic bone and drawing the belly toward the spine. Very important. Keep the toenails glued to the earth. On an exhale, lift and float. Maybe float the arms, or the arms can be out wide or along our sides. Breathing. One more deep breath. And then release. Rock the hips. Still the hips. And we'll do that one more time. Different options with the arms. This time you have the option, if you choose, to float the feet up, active energy in the legs. Just make sure this isn't drawing from your low back. And I'm going to take this cactus arm position again. Exhale to lift, shoulders back and down. Hover, breathe, maybe lift the feet, or maybe one at a time, and then switch. One more breath. Stack the hands, rock the hips. Still the hips. Tuck the toes. Forearms come shoulder width, and our elbows are kind of squeezing into our rib cage. Knees down as we lift the tailbone, using the strength of our forearms and our core to come back. Child's pose, or our being with head heel, where our elbows are right below wrists, maybe the shoulders are over the elbows, and we briskly palm and either hold that warm air out here or cover the eyes and support the head in our hands. You can just make any adjustments you need to get comfortable here for the next 5 breaths. Slowly release. We're going to make our way around to seated. And maybe you have a strap, maybe not. It does not matter. I'll show both. So we're going to do that back scratch test here. So reaching one arm out, thumb down, sweep that behind, kind of slide that up the spine, opposite arm on top, reach down, and with the strap, the nice thing about that is you could even be a little further apart, and you just work your way toward each other. Sitting up tall, just ensuring that you're not in this position. So we're always maintaining that lengthened spine and breathing. Line there, back center, Roll the shoulders, look both ways. And then take the opposite hand up, sweep back. Other arm, reach up. And again, you may notice one side you can touch and the other maybe not. Or maybe both sides you're touching, or maybe neither. It does not matter. We're working toward more flexibility. Deep breaths. And then slowly release. So again, draw the shoulders up, back, and down. Up toward our ears, squeeze, draw back, and down. Deep breath, and then let's move to our back side. So on our back side, crossing that right ankle over the left, figure four stretch, or a modified pigeon pose, if you will. We have different options here, using the strength of that bottom leg to bring this knee in. This foot is flexed to help protect the knee. And you may want a strap to reach behind the thigh of that bottom leg if the arms aren't long enough. We want to make sure that our head isn't up here. That's certainly more abdominals, but it's also a lot more harsher on the neck. So we just want to be comfortable lying back here. If the arms reach around that thigh, fine. If not, we can use that strap. Release down, uncross, switch sides, foot is flexed. Just be mindful of that knee, using the strength of the bottom leg to draw in. Same options with the strap, or if you have longer arms to reach around. Deep breaths. Taking full deep breaths really helps kind of clear out the system. Think of just anything that gets clogged, like anything in life in general. The more pressure you put to it, the clearer it gets. So the shallow breathing, just kind of lets things build up, the carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. So we want to just fully exhale. That's exhaling out any excess energy. And fully drinking in that shot of fresh air, fresh oxygen. Slowly lower down. Uncross. Arms along our sides. Let's do some pelvic tilts, or what I call baby cat cow stretches. It's just moving, pressing that belly toward the mat or toward the spine. So that back side just kind of rolls up. The bum does not leave the floor. You always have contact. But we're just rolling down to the very bottom of the tailbone or the sacral area. And then up just to the small of the back where we're imprinting in there. This should feel good on your body. And then step the feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart. Arms come wide to a T. And we'll drop the knees to one side as we gaze over the opposite shoulder. Come back to center and the other side. Center, side one. Center, side two. Coming back to center, knees still bent. Now, if you have a strap or sash or loop, grab that. If not, we'll just go with what we have. So I'm extending right leg first. Probably doesn't look like it, but I am. Reach up, slide either behind the thigh, behind the calf, and if you've got a sash or a loop or a strap, find that place where the leg is pretty straight but not locked out. If you don't have a loop, still find that spot, flex through the foot, and find your edge, breathe there. It's like you're walking on the ceiling. The opposite leg extends like you're pushing out a piece of furniture. Now, if you don't have a loop here or a strap, just hold on to that outer calf or just above the knee and let the toes turn outward or laterally as you open. With a strap or sash, you just place that around the foot. Place that opposite hand on the hip to help anchor that down, or come out wide to a T. Breathe. Return to center. Bring the toes inward this time, or medial. And then switch hands. Take that opposite arm out wide and draw that leg across the midline, or just gently coax it over with the hand. Maintaining control and breathing. Return to center. Remove that strap if you have one on, and just fold the knee into the chest. Bend the opposite knee and shift these hips. If you've got the right knee in, shift the hips to the right. If you have the left knee in, shift them to the left. And right arm comes wide. Maybe hold behind that knee crease if that's available. Draw the leg across for lying spinal twist. There's a gallbladder point, achievers of the impossible, located right behind that knee crease, so it is a good one to hold. Breathe into. Back to center. And then shift the hips back to center. Maybe a couple more pelvic tilts. And then bring that opposite knee in. Extend the leg, using the loop if you have it. Placing it around the foot. Find your edge. Breathe into it. Extend the opposite leg like you're pressing out a piece of furniture. Turn the toes laterally outward. Hand anchors the hip or comes out wide. Just move slowly as you go to open that leg, feeling that inner thigh stretch. And slowly bring that back to center. Switching hands, toes come in medially inward, cross the center line. Opposite arm goes out wide. With control, draw it across the body. Return to center. And let's remove the loop. You have that. Fold the knee in. Bend the opposite leg. Shift the hips to the left or right, depending on if you have the left knee in. Hips shift to the left. Line spinal twist to that other side. Holding behind that knee crease, if that's available to you. And returning to center. Shift the hips back to center. Now I'm just going to come up to show you, and you can just obviously watch me from here. I place one hand over here, fingers beneath the armpit, and the other fingers beneath. So find out where those thumbs land, where they just naturally land, and just begin massaging a little bit there. These points may or may not be sore. These are some lung neurolymphatic points. We've spoken of those a little bit before. The neurolymphatics are certain points that are connected to the actual organs in which they serve, if you will. So by massaging them, kind of stimulates them, wakes them up, and helps to clear out the lymph, if you will, into the venous system out for elimination. So many times when they're sore, it's just because they've gotten a little bit of a buildup. So we'll massage those. And some more lung points are right in between the breasts, right along that bony sternum there. Press there, and you don't have to press real hard. Breathing deeply. The lung points are represented by the element of metal, which is also represented by the season of autumn in which we are in right now. Challenging emotion, grief. The weather's turning. The leaves are falling. It's sad. And then we have to move from the challenging emotion of grief to letting go of that grief, knowing that all will turn out again through the winter and the spring, the rebirth. So the cycle of life. So with that, let's... The other organ, by the way, represented or points are the large intestine, and we did this last week, and I can demo that's one more time before we go into our Shavasana, or final relaxation. Thumbs and fingertips along the inseam and outer seam of the leg, right at the leg pit. Move downward toward the knee for constipation. Move from the knee upward for loose stools. And you do 4 to 5 passes on each leg. Now, if you have perfect constitution, it doesn't matter which way you go. The large intestine, neurolymphatics are on the outside, and the small intestine are on the inside. So you can just work those here, or the flat part of the knuckles, of the fingers, whichever you prefer. But it is effective, if you will. And this doesn't feel good. No one ever said everything was going to be easy. It doesn't feel good. It probably never will. It will feel really good. But again, it is effective. And if you have trouble thinking, well, where is it? The points are so small and our hands are big enough to cover those. But if you have seams on your pants, just kind of follow along there and you're sure to find them. So when you have finished that, just shake off the hands. We're going to come into our final relaxation, Shavasana. Options to be lifted on a little bit of a blanket if you choose for that sacral area, or even a block. Just make sure that block or blanket isn't in the small of your back, but that flat triangular bone just down below the low back, right at your sacrum and the bottom of the tailbone. This is one of my favorite relaxing positions, back traction pose. Things fall into gravity, and you can just revisit any intention you have set for your day or your practice. And breathe, let go. Bring our awareness back to our fingers and our toes. Begin to flutter our eyelids. And rolling to one side as we're ready. And then again, joining me in seated once again as you are ready. Gather the energy we've created around our respective spaces and bring it into our heart center to take us through the rest of the day, maybe even covering those lung points. Take a deep inhale and exhale with that is the sound associated with the season of autumn, the element of metal, and letting go of grief. Thank you all for joining me for this practice today. Namaste.